So let me just break this down real quick for YouTube because I know that y'all can't really understand what it is that I'm doing. As a black man, this is me having an opinion and critiquing the women directly in my community. In no way, shape, or form is this a type of form of hate as you have tried to categorize before. I'm not exactly sure where it is that you got that from. But obviously, this just proves that you need more black people at YouTube who can happen to go over these videos and understand what the topic and the conversation is directly about. And again, just like I've covered on my platform, people are free to date whoever it is that they want to date, but I'm going to point out the hypocrisy when it deals with people having their preference and then wanting to speak negatively on men, specifically black men, that they would never selectively choose to date, want to date, or never wanted to have a romantic relationship with at all.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So the individual that you were able to see is a retired individual that is a part of the entertainment industry, who specifically and predominantly seeks out certain types of guys. So, anyways, the main thing that I'm trying to point out here is that you have a lot of individuals that want to run a mouth. They want to talk. They want to speak negatively on black men in general, not specific black men that they have had these negative experiences with or have selectively dated, but they want to brand, right, all black men as the black men that they have had those negative experiences with or selectively chose to date and or sleep with. And I just want to highlight some of the nonsense that is talked about online openly now. Because if this was like 10 years ago, you really wouldn't be able to hear this type of honesty. And only women themselves who live within this type of realm can speak of this honesty. I can just, talk about it. I can speak around the subject, but in order to get a deep dive, in order to really understand, the mentality of a lot of these women, you have to hear them speak for yourself.
Confusion of the highest order.
When I see a black woman with a white man, a black woman with a white man or any ethnicity that's non-black, I don't really take it offensive. We've had interracial relationships in my family, mostly like black women with white men, like my great grandmother and one of my cousins, and they were so cool. They treated us great. I didn't really see race when it came to them. I don't necessarily like black men with non-black women. You're black, your mama black, your grandma black.
You so in love with white folks that you can't even have a little compassion for yourself. You so in love with your oppressor that you can't even have a little bit of compassion for your own people.
And he was like, oh, I love my black girl. It was like a tribute to her on Twitter. And he was just like giving all of the reasons why he loved her. And it had nothing to do with her being black or anything. He was just, giving all the reasons why he loved her, right? Black women were all under that video, and they were like, going against their best interest. Black women were under there like, oh, but if this was a black man talking about a white woman, black women would get mad. So what? So
what? You're a victim.
Here we go, CSI.
They're allowed to be hypocrites. We can be hypocrites too. And see, this is, again, this is part of the game y'all don't like. You don't like when I tell black women you can be hypocritical like black men or just everybody in general. We can go under a black woman's post who's with a white man and say, yeah, you go, girl. I'm so happy for you. And then when we look at a black man with a white woman, we can turn our nose up. We are allowed to do that. We could be hypocritical just like you. Oh, but you don't like that. We're the only people who can't be hypocritical. No fact. Because I think most of us are used to seeing it. We don't care anymore, which I'm so happy about. Plus, the Gen Z black girls are swirling too. They don't care. They don't care like that. They don't. But yeah, it's like, I don't recommend that we outrage about it anymore, which is why I don't on this channel. But we don't have to like it. We still don't have to like. I don't care. Yeah, I swirl. I exclusively date non-black men for right now. Right now, probably forever. I'll never say never, like I said, but yeah, probably forever. I can do that and still be like, when it comes to black men and non-black women, I can still do that. I don't care if it's hypocritical. I don't care. Because everybody else is hypocritical. I don't care. And it's not me saying, oh, because they do it, I'm going to do it too. It's just me pointing out, you guys, that humans are hypocrites like that. We're all like that. And nobody wants to admit it.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody wants to admit that even people that you don't want to see them with people who don't look like you. Can we just be honest right now about that? Like, this has nothing to do with race or gender. I think every race and every gender is like this.
I'm not even going to comment on no foolishness like that.
I like to see men who are with women who look like me. Yep. It sounds vain. It sounds narcissistic, but that's what I like to see. I like to see men, all men, with dark-skinned women. I do. I like to see it. I don't give a, even if I would never touch that man with the 10-foot pole. Even if I would never date that man, I still like seeing them with a black woman who looks like me.
What did he say?
And everybody's like that. Don't just make it seem like, oh, it's just black women. Everybody is like that.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
By showing you a snippet of a video that inspired this video. Now let's unpack this because there's a lot of layers. Let's start by me saying, I'm tired of this tit for tat thing. I'm tired of people making it out that black men and black women have an exact same equal lived experience and perspective and how they're treated systemically and elsewhere. Because I feel like we acknowledge that systemically black people are oppressed for their race and systemically women are oppressed for their gender. But rarely do we talk about black women who are in this overlap. They're when worlds collide. It's known as misogynoir. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I don't feel as though black women saying they do not want to interact with black men is the same as black men saying they don't want to interact with black women. Because systemically, once again, there's a lot of things that aren't equal. For one, black men are most likely to marry outside their race, whereas black women are the most likely to marry within. Along with this, black women are considered the least desirable demographic, and black men aren't. As far as men go, Asian men are considered the least desirable, and this, like, statistically, not my opinion, clearly, or hopefully it's clear. And along with this, interracially, across the board, the most successful marriage is black women with white men. And on another scale, statistically and systemically, the domestic violence rates for black men against black women versus black women against black men is unequal. So I'm tired of people acting like it's equal. And I just want to talk on that. Because black men can sit here and publicly bash black women, but we can't defend ourselves. I hope this video doesn't come across like I'm bashing black men, because that's not the case. I'm simply explaining why it can be exhausting and why you shouldn't participate in discussions demonizing black women for searching for.
So the main thing that I want to just cut in for the brief moment due to that video is the fact of her statistics. But number one is the fact that if you listen to any of these black women who have a septum ring, it's usually the exact same thing where they will make sure to put whoever it is that is non-black on a pedestal, state all of the good things directly about them, and then they'll state all of these negative things about black men in order to encompass all black men. Why is it that every single time they want to talk about the positive relationships that they have with non-black men, they want to then list the things that happen internally when it deals with black people that are in proximity to other black people? Why didn't she list the stats on what it is that Asian men happen to do to Asian women? Why didn't she list the stats on what white men happen to do with white women that they are all in proximity to their own women, right? She could have easily listed those stats, and then she would have easily found that, hey, even though, yes, these things do take place, right, within the black community by some of the black men there, it is dwarfed in comparison to the races and the groups of other men, where there are more men of this number of this ethnicity than black men in the United States of America. But she's not going to go that far. She's not going to do it due to the fact that it's not going to validate the point that she was trying to make about black men, even though she specifically stated that she wasn't doing this in order to vilify or try to criminalize or make or deem black men to be evil. So these are just some stats that were made by a black website, right? For black people by black people. And her narrative is a bit off when she wants to talk about, hey, black men, they just want to all date out. They just want to all marry out. They don't want to be around and with black women, when we can clearly see that that is vastly different here. The overwhelming majority, including myself, of black men that are out here in the United States of America want to be with and want to marry black women. But the problem is this stat right here: between men and women, women are the ones who chiefly initiate divorce. Increasingly, the duration of their first marriage lasts longer than that of men, but their second marriages are shorter. Women initiate divorce 69% of the time. This figure shoots up to 90% for college educated women. So irregardless of what it is that men want to do, you have women out here that'll state that, hey, I want to get married, I want to have the white picket fence, I want to do this, I want to do that. But long story short, women are the ones that initiate the divorce. I'm not really caring for what the reason is, because let's also state the main things that people will go for. Oh, well, it's always infidelity. The man is always out here cheating. Well, let's just say that's the case, right? So what about the women who cheat? The reason you never hear about it is because women are very great at lying. They're very great at keeping their own secrets, right? That would deem them or make them seem a certain type of way. They'll take those to the grave. If, a woman goes out here and cheats or steps out on a man during the marriage, a man will never find out unless she wants a man to find out. Women are very great at keeping their own secrets, and women are very great at looking out for their very best own interest. So I'm just going to put that out there, because 9 times out of 10, people always say that the reason why the marriage headed to divorce is due to the fact that a man had a child directly out of wedlock. A man was out there cheating. A man was out there talking to another woman. All right. Whatever you say, guys.
For all my beautiful black queens that are so infatuated with dating a white man, do your thing, sis. I hear you. All right, hooray, because the other side ain't much better. But one thing you have to understand when you deal with white men, the minute you do one wrong thing, just one, you're done.
A lot of people seem to not understand me. Yes, I call out white people for not understanding their privilege and not understanding that they live in a society that puts them systematically on the top. But don't get it wrong. I am still a white man. If Timothy Chalamet were to come up to me and said, hey, I'm taking your virginity, I'm not asking any questions. I'm not giving any suggestions. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let that white man defile me. And I stand by that.
This battle is about to explode. Live and let die.
Sitting here doing my nails, new set, every week, I don't know. Anyways, that's not what this is about. And I was thinking about the fact that I've never entertained a black man or any other man of color as far as romantically dating, etc., because of the bad experiences that I personally have had with African American men, and I obviously know they're African American men because I'm foreign, and how I've been sexualized by the ones that I've encountered from a very young age. That just always put me off because, ugh. I also grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, so naturally I gravitated towards that hue of man. What I didn't realize until recently is that what they were doing, the clear people, were far worse than what the over-sexualization loud and in person. They were just fetishizing me, which is worse because you can't know what's in someone's mind. As a result, I decided that me choosing clear men over black men was a preference, when in fact it's something that I was essentially tricked into. A preference is how you like your coffee or your eggs, not whether or not you'll date someone because of the color of their skin. And it's a hard pill to swallow at my age and taking so long to realize it and come to terms with it.
If you're a white boy and you love you some black women, please use this sound because sometimes we can't tell if y'all like black girls or not. So we never really shoot our shots. We just be liking y'all from the background.
Set with y'all because I know you're mentally ill, which is why one day I'm going to open up a hospital for mentally ill Africans.
You want to know why they go after the girls that have no interest in them? Think about the male fantasy and then think about all the hot female villains in those games, videos, all that stuff. Think, like, really sit and think. It all really boils down to the fact that they don't want a black woman. They might say that, but they are lying. This might be a...
Are you dumb?
I think she's dumb. I think she's dumb. Are you, like, medically speaking?
Take, I'm not really sure, but every single time, I guess you could call me an alt girly. I like alternative music, aesthetic, like that kind of aesthetic. And every time I've ever met a man like that, they do not want to talk to me. They always hit you with the, you're really pretty, but I only date white girls. Why is it that you only date white girls, babe? Are you that mentally enslaved? Are you that intellectually subservient? We're both single and ready to mingle.
I promise it's not like this.
They want this woman that's nowhere even within their grasp because they think that they deserve it because of society, because of the patriarchy. I'm not that articulate, so like I can't really get out what I want to say, but like y'all, there's implied nuance.
And wait a minute, do y'all see what I see?
I want to have a conversation about how black educated college men act like they too good to date a lot of types of women. Like they have this one archetype of woman in their mind, and if that's not her, they will not wife you. And then they turn around and get mad when they be like, oh, those type of girls only like hood boys. But they fail to realize that hood men actually love and show vulnerability. Everything isn't transactional with them. Whereas you're just looking for somebody who looks good on paper and a good in a photo, and you mad because she don't either like you or she doesn't have substance. That's just what I've noticed. And me wanting an educated man, and when I've gotten one, just to realize he really wanted me to fit in a certain type of mode. Like, yeah. Y'all want to talk about that?
So again, the main point of this video is to showcase that you have a nice size demographic of black women that are out there that are either swirlers, divestors, whatever you want to call them, and they have a preference. And as I've stated on countless videos, that is cool, that is awesome, great for you. You finally figured out what it is that you want in life. My main problem is that the generalization that is heavily used in a lot of these videos and a lot of these topics and a lot of these conversations when it deals with the overall majority of black men is nonsensical, and it doesn't make sense, especially when you look at the women who decide to talk about black men in that manner, knowing the fact that when you listen to a lot of their videos, they state that, hey, I'm not going to date this black man, that black man. He has to make a certain amount. He has to have this certain type of body. He has to be doing so well for himself. Even if I have money, he has to make way more than me, and yada, yada, yada. Or like the other black woman stated, she was like, oh, well, I want to see every single man of every ethnicity with a dark-skinned black woman like me. even if I would never date him ever in this existence. And then she further doubled down and stated what her preference is. So again, it makes no sense to make all of these videos about men of which you state that you don't want, men of which that you would never date or have never dated. It makes no sense, only except for the fact that it's making you money. Just like it's always made people money when it is that they can capitalize on the image of black men. And it always has to be specifically either negative or something that people can deem or turn into a negative in order to profit a certain type of monetary gain. Because, as stated, any of the videos that they happen to do about their preference, you don't see those videos doing astronomical numbers. You don't see those videos breaking through the roof. You don't see them gaining subscribers and donations and anything like that when they're specifically talking about how great and how awesome and how beautiful their preference is and how their life is perfect and how they're living happily ever after. Nah, that's a dead zone. Nobody wants to continuously hear about happiness when they're not living within that same lifestyle, right? When they don't have a clear-cut understanding, and those women know that. So even though they could be living their best life, they're still going to de-evolve and decide to surround their topics around men that are not of their liking in order to generate that type of following, in order to generate that subscriber base, in order to generate that monetary gain and that fame and everything else that just so happens to come with it when it deals with social media. Again, there is a clear-cut reason why it is that you see a influx of black women out here that have just now started to either start doing podcasting, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is, and they're only and specifically talking about things surrounding in or around black men.